The best stories are simple. Our hearts beg for heroes that conquer dragons. We want the good guy to win. Stories like these have been told for generations, and the very best stories are the true ones. The ones that remind us that good can conquer evil, and that there is a real God who loves us and desires the best for us, and that we can be a part of bringing His love to others. We need to be a symbol of hope, hope we can share with others, hope that can heal and transform. It's at the center of every success story when one's true calling is defined and answered, and God's will is discovered and lived out. Miracles happen. For over 160 years, the missionaries of the Pontifical Institute for Foreign Missions, the PIME Missionaries, have been answering the call to proclaim the gospel among non-Christians. They bring a message of renewal and authentic transformation to those who need it most, those who have not heard the good news of Jesus Christ. These priests and brothers are dedicating a lifetime of service by proclaiming the gospel in 17 countries, nourishing the mind, body, and spirit. They bring Christ to all by being Christ to all, serving God and neighbor and caring for the poorest of the poor. Dedicated to their unique vision and calling, they live out their vocation as both individuals and a community. They inspire us to ask ourselves, how am I living out God's call in my life? Is there more that I can do? Is God calling me to support this mission? The journey began with a simple request. In 1847, Pope Pius IX asked the Archbishop of Milan, Archbishop Romili, to begin forming a missionary seminary in the Lombard region of Italy. His plea fell on fertile ground. Father Angelo Ramazzotti felt a strong love for the missions from the time of his boyhood. And so on July 30th, 1850, he began the Lombard Seminary for the Foreign Missions in Saronno. PIME, from its inception, was devoted to serving the most distant and abandoned peoples. The first 7 missionaries chose to begin on 2 small islands, Rook and Woodlark near Papua New Guinea. It was a primitive and hostile land where everything was a challenge. The previous Marist missionaries have abandoned a mission because the land and natives were found to be too difficult. The new missionaries were treated with apathy and hostility. Soon they were malnourished and sick with malaria. By the end of 3 years, 2 of them were dead. One of them, John Matsukone, dying a martyr's death. Eventually, the new missionaries also left the mission. The tragedy of that first mission, however difficult to bear, was not enough to dissuade the missionaries of PIME. The call to go to the farthest frontiers, to the missions no one else dared to attempt, has remained constant. In 1926, Pope Pius XI united the Lombard Seminary for the Foreign Missions with the Pontifical Seminary of the Holy Apostles Peter and Paul for the Foreign Missions to form the current PIME, the Pontifical Institute for Foreign Missions. The purpose was specific and twofold. The missionaries were to proclaim the gospel to non-Christians and assist in the foundation of new churches, whatever the cost. Since its beginning, PIME has founded 40 dioceses, most of them in Asia. The Diocese of Hong Kong was the first in 1858. The PIME missionaries maintain their presence there today. The missionaries are composed of both priests and laymen who are consecrated for life. Not only must a young man give his life to God, committing to a life of service as a priest or brother, but he also must be willing to do so in a foreign land, far away from his family and home. He must be willing to learn a new language and embrace a new culture for the rest of his life in order to become a living sign of Christ's love to all. Today, the priests and brothers are joined by an order of nuns, the Missionary Sisters of the Immaculate, and lay volunteers. There are nearly 500 missionary priests and brothers, 900 sisters, and dozens of volunteers working in 17 countries. All missionaries are called to live a life of sacrifice. While most missionaries do not die a martyr's death, some have. These heroes of faith inspire the work of PIME. The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the Church. The Institute has given the Church over 1,700 missionaries, 70 bishops, apostolic prefects or vicars, and 19 martyrs. One missionary, Alberico Crescitelli, who was martyred in China in 1900, has been canonized a saint. John Matsukone, Paulo Mana, and Father Clement Vismara have all been pronounced blessed by the Church. Life is short and doesn't belong to us, but to God. We must surrender our life to Him and use it for Him. Blessed Clement Bismara. Many PIME missionaries are being considered for canonization by the Catholic Church. Archbishop Angelo Ramazzati, Brother Felice Tantardini, Father Carlo Salerio, Dr. Marcello Condia, a layperson who volunteered in Brazil, Father Alfredo Cremonesi, and Father Mario Vergara, both martyrs in Burma. Since 1985, 3 PIME missionaries have given their lives in the Philippines: Salvatore Carzetta, Tullio Favalli, and Fausto Tintorio. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Today, PIME has 2 seminaries in Italy, 1 in Brazil, 1 in the Philippines, and 4 in India, where we have founded 10 dioceses over the last 150 years. In newly established churches, PIME provides the pastoral care, helping the communities become established and ultimately self-sufficient. We are present on the frontiers of the Church in China, Cambodia, the southern Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, the Amazon region, Mexico, and among the tribal peoples of India and Bangladesh. In 1947, the PIME missionaries were invited to the United States by Edward Cardinal Mooney. At that time, the establishment of seminaries was a top priority to increase the number of missionaries. The proclamation of the gospel among non-Christians was their calling, but they could not achieve their purpose alone. They needed the support of the church in America. They worked to create awareness, broaden their base of support, and provide opportunities for stewardship. They continue that work today from their regional headquarters in Detroit, Michigan. They also maintain a presence in New York. Missionary priests who are currently living in the U.S. continue to live out their call serving the local communities. In the Archdiocese of Detroit, several parishes have a PIME presence. Since they are accustomed to challenges with culture and language, they are ideal candidates for service among immigrants and in struggling urban settings. The regional headquarters and mission center in Detroit is the hub of support for the missionaries who work among the poorest of the poor worldwide. Programs provide assistance to needy children, the ill, and abandoned. They provide clean water and nutritious food, education, assistance and housing, vocational opportunities, chapels for prayer, assistance for young men called to the priesthood, medical relief for those with leprosy, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malnutrition. PIME missionaries provide care and compassion, living the corporal works of mercy. They do more than preach the gospel, they live it. Friends are invited to participate in PIME initiatives that serve thousands in the mission field. By hosting trips to the missions, PIME provides a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a first-hand encounter on a mission, a chance to meet the people and communities helped by PIME in developing countries, and an opportunity to serve them and be changed forever. The PIME missionaries are crossing cultures and transforming lives through the gospel, committed to the proclamation of the gospel to non-Christians. They will continue to follow Jesus' command to go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations. We will not forget the orphans, the abandoned, the needy, and the homeless. We will continue to feed the hungry, stand up for those without a voice, and provide shelter from the storms of life. We will be the hands and feet of Christ. Will you join us?